Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is directed by Andre Overdahl, and this film follows four teenagers who, when exploring an abandoned house that they believe to be haunted, they discover a book full of scary stories. After they remove this book from its rightful place, these stories come to life and start terrorizing their town. This film is based off of the young adult or series of young adult novels, books that I am a proud owner of. But I think for myself and a lot of people, the two reasons that I was most excited for this movie were its director and its producer. Andre Overdahl was the director of The Autopsy of Jane Doe, not an excellent movie by any means, but certainly an effective and creepy one. And you have Guillermo del Toro, one of the biggest names in Hollywood right now, signed on as the producer of this movie. So any film that he says that he's interested in, I'm also interested in too. And a few years back, there was a film that does something similar to what this movie does in this film. We got the Goosebumps movie, another film that takes literary horror characters and brings them to life in the context of the real world by having other people read about them in the stories in which they are written. Now, in the context of the Goosebumps series, I think that choice makes a lot of sense, considering each of those stories is an actual book, not in this movie's case, which these short stories that this film is based off of are just that. They're short stories, some of which are just 1 to 2 pages at most. And after seeing this movie, I think the potential that this film had to possibly shine the brightest would have been in electing to have these stories still be separate and still be independent from one another. Because it's in this film's narrative and how it tries to tie these stories together is where I feel this film falls the shortest for myself. Because this is a movie that's story is full of narrative cliches, especially in other horror films. I have seen this story told this way using similar tropes through about a dozen different horror movies. So really the only chance that this movie has at being a cut above the rest is in how it executes its scares, which I have to say are done so fairly competently. This film does not have an overabundance of false jump scares. I would say the tension is set up in a way that, although is predictable, maybe would work for a younger audience. This is a PG-13 rated movie after all. After watching this movie, it is evident that those who are involved in making this film are a fan of its source material, and I do feel that if they were wanting to adapt this book to the screen faithfully, they probably should have done what the book does and keep these stories separate. Because I don't know if you guys have read this book, but it's not really the most character-driven thing in the world. So when you have a film that is driven by characters, as well as, again, one of the most cliche horror movies that I've seen this year, it kind of pales in comparison to its predecessor. I think if this film would have stuck to its strengths in delivering on effective and creepy scare set pieces, I think it would have been a lot stronger. Hell, make this a Netflix miniseries. Have these episodes be about 10 to 15 minutes and have each of them be one of the short stories from this book. Release it around Halloween time and have a little mini Twilight Zone, Black Mirror, or whatever you want to call it for a younger generation. Because as it stands now, I don't think people my age, a bit younger, or even a bit older are going to be too interested in this film, unfortunately. So did you guys see Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? What did you think about it? Leave your thoughts and opinions down below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching today. I hope you liked today's video. And if you did, you can click on the link down below and subscribe to my channel to see more movie reviews and movie related things. Guys, thank you so much for watching and see you next time.